This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Hi everyone, it's Tash and welcome to another recipe video, and today we're going to be making an extra strong matcha ice cream. Now if you don't have an ice cream maker, I've actually made a no-churn matcha ice cream before. I'll pop the link up there now and also down below in the description. But today I'm going to be making an actual ice cream machine ice cream because I got, I should have thought this through, an actual ice cream maker. I am so excited. I've wanted a proper ice cream maker for decades. I'm going to put this down now because it is actually quite heavy. Snagged myself a little bit of a cheeky Black Friday deal. It was on Amazon for about, was it 65 or 70 pounds? It was definitely under 70. And it's a self-freezing one, so I don't have to put the bowl in the freezer overnight before I want to make ice cream. So if you are in the market for an ice cream maker, do bear in mind there are two different types. There's one which is self-freezing, like the one I have, it does all the work. And then there's another type where you have to pre-freeze the ice cream bowl in the freezer, sometimes overnight, sometimes just for a couple of hours, before you then put the bowl into the main machine itself. The second type tends to be a little bit cheaper, a little bit smaller, not necessarily, but generally they're good if you have less counter space. And the first type, the pre-freezing type, they tend to be on the bigger side, so they have a bigger footprint and more expensive, but not always. I have seen very expensive pre-freeze, so you have to freeze it first, ice cream makers that are quite big. And there was this one that I bought, the automatically freezing one, super cheap and actually not that big. It's about 30 centimeters in length, so it will quite happily sit in my cupboard when I'm not using it. I have actually given this one a quick test run. It does indeed freeze stuff. I just made a really simple mixture to test it, just a little bit of milk, a little bit of sugar, popped it in and it froze it wonderfully. It made a really nice milk ice. But today we're making a proper smooth ice cream and we're making an extra strong matcha ice cream. We used to be able to get half decent tubbed matcha ice cream here in the UK. Some of the Asian supermarkets sold it. However, I don't really see it much anymore, and the brands that do still sell it have become noticeably weak in matcha, which is a big no-no for me. I like my matcha. And also some people also say about it that it's quite expensive. You'll get one 500ml tub for £7 or £8. That I'm actually not too worried about because matcha is quite expensive in itself. So a proper matcha ice cream would be a bit pricey. However, these are really weak matcha ice creams. They're barely using any matcha and they're still charging premium price. So again, no. So now that I've got my proper ice cream maker, I'm going to attempt to try and make a really strong one. I had one in Japan from a shop called Nanaya, and they do 7 strengths of matcha ice cream and a few other flavours too, but they mainly deal in matcha. And their number 7 strength claims to be the strongest matcha ice cream there is. And I actually tried it against another shop that also does 7 strengths of ice cream, and yep, their claim holds up. They do the strongest. And it was delicious, so smooth, not actually too bitter, bright green, not too sweet. It was perfect. The one I'm going to make today is probably going to be around the 5 or 6 mark on their strength scale, mostly because I don't want to use so much matcha that I accidentally ruin the mixture. Like I said, matcha is expensive, you don't want to waste it. But I think the quantities I'm making today are just right. This recipe is super easy. We are going to make an ice cream custard base with egg yolks, but don't panic, it is super easy. I'll walk you through it. So with all that said, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. Let's make our matcha cream mixture first, and for that we're of course going to need cream. We've got 150ml of it here and 200ml of full fat milk. Yes, I'm using the same double cream container to measure it because I'm lazy. We're also going to add in 20 grams of matcha, and this is quite a lot of matcha as matcha goes. Giving everything a quick wipe because I just realised I'm wearing white, which is the worst colour ever to wear when you're working with matcha or anything chili oil or coffee or chocolate or anything that has a colour really, which is pretty much everything. And I'm going to take my stick blender and I'm going to blend this all up. You can slowly whisk the liquid into the matcha to avoid lumps, but this is the quickest way to do it. Nice. Right, that is done. Let's set this aside. Now in another bowl I have 3 egg yolks. I'm going to add 75 grams of caster sugar and 1/3 teaspoon of corn flour. And this is going to help stabilise those egg yolks, and it's going to make the mixture a little bit thicker too. Let's give this a quick mix. Nice. Now we're moving on over to our stove. We're going to pour all of our matcha cream in here. Make sure you get every last drop out. And we're going to heat this until it is just simmering and steaming. And all the while we're going to stir it as well because we don't want the bottom to burn. Keep an eye on this, this isn't something you can walk away from. Milk and cream boils just like that and it goes everywhere, so do keep stirring and keep an eye on it. And as soon as you hear it start to bubble and steam, let's take it off the heat and we're going to pour this a little bit into our egg mixture. Right, so stirring all the while, we're going to pour in half. Stir, stir, stir. We don't want those egg yolks to scramble. Go really, really fast. And this is going to help bring those egg yolks up to a hot temperature so they're not shocked when we add them to the hot cream. Just going to grab a heat-proof surface because we're going to put this into our cream now. So we're adding our egg yolk mixture back in. And of course we're going to get every last drop in. And we're going to put this back on the heat. We're going to turn it up to about a medium heat. I'm going to keep stirring and stirring and stirring until it has thickened. It's already getting thick, you can see it's coating the whisk, which is exactly what you want. But let's keep going. Let's cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes. It's been 3 minutes, I think that will do. Yes, you can see it's leaving that lovely thick trail when we scrape our spatula. So this is done. Let's take it off the heat. Now I'm going to pour all of this into a bowl. Lovely. Scrape as much as possible as usual. Get all of that lovely matcha goodness out. And we're going to stick it in a bowl of ice. And this is going to help it cool down a little faster. Should have put the ice in afterwards. You know what? Let's do that. Put that in there. Put the ice around, that will do. I never think these things through, do I? I also need a bigger bowl, as usual. Careful not to get any water in our mixture, by the way, because we don't want ice crystals. Right, let's set this aside. Every so often, give it a little bit of a stir, because we don't want a skin forming, because we have just made hot cream. So give it a bit of a stir every few minutes until this is nice and cold. This is very nearly chilled enough, and while we wait for it to chill completely, I'm going to pop a container in the freezer, because what the ice cream machine will do is it will partially freeze it, but it won't freeze it until it is scoopably hard. So we need to finish off the process in the freezer later. Once we put this in the ice cream machine and it's done, I'm going to scoop that in here and pop it in the freezer. But of course it's going to help if this is already cold to stop it from melting. So we're going to pop this in the freezer now. And it's already a little bit cloudy because I already put it in the freezer and then realised I forgot to film that part, so there you go. Now that our ice cream mixture is well chilled, we're going to put it in our little ice cream bucket, and this is going to go into our machine. Be careful, because depending on the type of your machine, you should actually put the mixture in the bucket while the bucket is in the machine, not before, because sometimes when you put it in, the mechanism underneath will push the ice cream mixture up. This is slightly different. There is no mechanism that goes underneath the bucket, it's just the bucket with no hole underneath. So I can actually do this now. I'm going to use a ladle because I do not trust this bowl to be able to pour neatly. Now let's retrieve the machine, shall we? Here we are. The machine's quite big, I only have a small stand, so I'm trying to give you as good of a view as possible. I'm going to lower our bucket in. As you can see, it's only about half full. The machine instructions said to only fill it about 60% full maximum, because when it stirs, it obviously churns it around and also adds air to it, so it becomes a little bit puffier, so you don't want to fill it to the top, otherwise you're going to get a mess. I'm going to pop the top on, lock it, and I'm going to turn it to ice cream mode, and it's going to take about 30 minutes and then it's going to beep and tell me that it's done. There we go, and I'll see you in 30 minutes. That's all done, it just did the beeps. Let's switch it off and set this to the side. In fact, let me show you first, before I do that, what it looks like inside. That's probably a good idea. Ah, look at that. Let's rescue our tub. this to the side, let it come back down to room temperature before we put it away. And look at that. Right, we've got our frozen container here, which we've taken out the freezer. Let's deal with the, what do you call this, the paddle first, because there's going to be ice cream stuck to that, and we want to get that into our container stat. Right, so let's do that now. Now for the main event. Ooh, it's cold. Let's work fast. As you can see, it is not totally frozen yet. It's more like soft serve at the moment. We want it a bit firmer so we can scoop it. So I'm going to flatten it down, like so. Pop the top on, and we're going to freeze this just for maybe half an hour, not that long because it's already frozen. So see you then. Right, it's time to get scooping. So this has been in there for about an hour, and I took it out a little bit as well, just so it's soft enough to scoop. Got a big ice cream scoop here. Oh, amazing, look at that. Absolutely incredible. Drop that in there. Oh, that is beautiful. Wow, look at that little ball of perfection. That looks absolutely gorgeous. It's also melting fast, so let's take a scoop out of it now. Now that is a proper matcha ice cream. Like I said, it's melting fast, so I'm going to take a bite straight away. Cheers! Oh my gosh, it is so good. The mixture is so silky smooth, you've got a really strong matcha punch in there. This one's definitely one for matcha lovers. And it's not overly bitter either. The creaminess of the egg yolks and the cream and the sugar really cut through the bitterness of the green tea. Even though it's a really strong, powerful matcha taste, it isn't really bitter at all. And you know what? Our cheapo ice cream maker did a good job. It is very smooth, there are no ice crystals in there. That is a good matcha ice cream. And yes, I would put this as a solid 5 out of 7 for the 7 strength Nanaya shop strength. Matcha ice cream strength chart. I would love to go full 7 though. Should I add a whole 40-gram container of matcha into the ice cream mixture? Now that would be quite an expensive ice cream to make. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. So there you go, extra strong matcha ice cream. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video, and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I'm tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too, I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more, give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it, comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. Got a dilemma now. It's winter and it's cold, but I really want to use my ice cream maker more already. What else shall I make?